Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, and you know what's really funny is the fact that is your voice hitting it? Oh, oh, Mac. And you know what's happening is I've actually got um, oh, this is gonna kill me. This is hilarious. Where is it at? All right, where's it coming from? I'm getting a feedback from it. Yeah, it's definitely me. I think it's. Let me see if I quit this. All right, are you still there? That's cool, and I can see this. And yeah, I had somewhere there was a window attached to my Twitch stream that was off screen. So that was truly annoying. So at least that stopped it. At least I hope it did. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. No, it's okay. I'm just going to have to remember to repeat your questions because, dang it, I don't think I can wire it in to the stream. Well, or I need a better computer, one or the other. I mean, so yeah, repeating everything you say is going to get to be really tiring. Hang on. Alright. Let me turn this on. And let me go over here to Zoom. Hang on just one second. I'm going to attempt to do this. Well, okay, that kind of worked. All right, try saying something there, Hubert.
Hello, hello.
Oh my goodness, it's actually going down the stream. I managed to fix that problem. All right, now I don't have to repeat everything you said. Dun dun dun. Well, so that was what, a 50-minute setup for a show that's supposed to go from 6 to 7. I think we did excellent.
I think our goal was actually 30 minutes, not 60 minutes.
Oh, that's true. So
I don't have 60 minutes of questions, so
yeah, well, and actually, to be perfectly honest, I think what I want to do is I want to make sure that I can keep these things down to the point where I can clip it down to about 15 minutes without having to do a lot of work. Because the less work I have to do for the video editing and the stream editing and all that kind of stuff, the better off we are. So, do me a favor though. Do go to. Can you reopen the stream yourself and let's just confirm? Because I'm only looking at half the stats and information here, and unfortunately I can't. Since I'm only on the one computer, I don't have all of my other audio stuff I usually have for the game.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm a little soft, but you can hear me.
Okay, let me turn you up. Try it again.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. That seems pretty well balanced to me.
Okay. Is there background music?
Not that I can hear, but maybe it's very soft.
I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. How's that?
I still cannot hear the music.
Okay, well you're not on headphones, right?
Correct.
Okay, so now the general plan is you mute the stream,
Done.
but you leave it up, and so then you can then watch what's happening for my screen via the stream. That way I don't have to do a screen share. Does that make sense?
Sure. I'm not. I mean, I guess I could see what's going on in your desktop that way.
Yeah. Well, so that's the whole point. Is like, look, web page. Dun dun dun. It's there. Dun dun dun. And I have. Am I pointing at the web page?
Yes.
That's hilarious because that's absolutely backwards. So I'm gonna have to flip the video somehow so I can actually point at what I want to point at, but have it be. I don't know. Does this say winner?
Yes, it does.
Oh, so if I flip the video, then okay. Well, I'm just gonna have to get used to like it's over there.
You could just wear a shirt that does not have words on it.
Oh, I fully plan on us getting merch.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
Stuff like run towards danger. You know, it's like what would Arrow do? Run towards danger. Always fail your combat rolls, but use the natural 20s for perception checks. Stuff like that, because that's what happens in our games. Right? Our games are just insane.
Well, our games are. Yeah, one of the challenges that we have, of course, and maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm fairly certain that the Critical Role people.
Yes.
I'm fairly certain that they fudge their dice rolls to make it more entertaining.
I'm entirely sure they do. In fact, So this is actually an interesting topic because I just watched like 5 different better GMing videos and stuff like this. Plus, read some commentary from on the Reddits from the TSR folks about fudging dice rolls and stuff like that, and they're like, it's all about the story and about making sure that everything is up and running, and that and they're talking about that's what the DM that's what the Dungeon Master screen is for. That's what it's always been for, so that the DM can fudge their rolls. And I'm just like, that's actually one of the reasons why I turned off that feature, and I actually started doing most of most of my roles directly where you guys can see it, because it's like, yeah, I think that adds some interesting drama to the game, because it's like, I'm not fudging this. That's what happened. He got a natural 20 against you, or they made a natural 1 and
I
gone.
think I
Right.
think what it comes down to is the style of game you want to run. I mean, if you want to run a narrative game that's mostly narrative, then the dice rolls are not that important. If you want to roll a more mechanical, tactical game, dice rolls are more important.
I'm
That's
hoping
just
my
my.
game kind of like walks down the middle of that line.
Well, yeah, it's obviously not a binary, right? It's a distribution. So
Right
so
on.
I think we just just decide and we'll stick with it, and that's good enough, right?
Yeah. So yeah, so it's just, but that's like I said. So that's one of the things where um, I'm like, well, true that some people could be rolling better, but the fact of the matter is if they're rolling good enough, I think it's fun. And on top of that, I think this group has just been having all kinds of fun. Um,
Well,
I
certainly the last two sessions for Hubert have been a series of terrible, terrible rolls.
I know. And that's the other thing I was looking into. So I actually saw I saw some stuff this week, and I was going to propose this to the group when everyone comes back. We might try it out on the one shot campaigns, which we'll be running for the next 2 weeks. Which is, um, I can roll, and this is only the only there's only 2 rolls that I will make in secret. One of them is the death save, which is already a house rule, because I don't want players knowing how close or how far away they are from death, and I don't want the rest of the team knowing that either. So I kind of like that mystery. Um, but the other one that I saw a suggestion for was stealth rolls, because it is a bit of over metagaming if the player knows they made a really bad roll or a very low roll. They know immediately if they missed it or not. Whereas if the game master makes the roll, then the players who are being stealthy think they're being stealthy. If they are, they are. If they aren't, they aren't. The only time I'd truly be announcing it would be like if there was a natural 1, because that would be a clear fumble with a loud noise that everyone hears.
I'm certainly fine with that. It makes more work for you, unfortunately. Um,
I don't know about that, because I think with I'm actually getting a lot of the automation working in Fantasy Grounds, um, and I keep every week I get a few more of my charts into it. I dug out my boxes and blown the dust off of some of them, and are kind of updating those for 5e rules. So I think as time goes on, it's just going to get better and better. I like the fact that our group is getting proficient at self management. That's going to take a lot of load off of me. So that'd be kind of nice. But
well, speaking as a regular person who is not a streaming celebrity, um, I have had to learn a great deal about disciplining myself and keeping things flowing. So it's not all straightforward from even the players' angle.
oh, I'm sure not, and especially not in my world, because my world is truly annoying. I am, I'm a truly, I'm being really mm, crazy on some of this stuff, and I'm sure it's driving a few people nuts. You especially, because you're a very seasoned player, and you're expecting, you have a lot of the rules and a lot of the ideas already in your head, and then I'm constantly catching you off guard, and I'm sorry about that. But I mean, it comes down to, I mean, so long as you're having fun, I'm having fun. So I think we could just work through those. Which brings
I
us.
do think, knowing what I know now, I would have chosen a different character. Um, when I originally put the Hubert concept together, I thought, oh, well, the group needs an experienced person to, help guide them at times. So Hubert became an elderly, experienced individual. I think it would have been easier for everyone if I had played a young, inexperienced character. um,
Yeah, well, I think
at times I
it's
feel that
working.
way. It's all good.
Well, the other thing that we're going to do is something I'm planning on doing during the next couple weeks while Arrow is on vacation. Is I'm going to be running I'm going to start kicking off some side quests, which is going to basically be what are you doing during the downtime, because there's going to be a little bit of stuff. So everybody, because you've hit the town, there's going to be a couple of days or weeks of getting a few things wrapped up, and then they'll be like, okay, well, like for example, I think Harbik wants to go have he's going to go try and get his God blessed mallet or warhammer tested, and he's gonna and he has a whole bit of interactions that he has to take care of himself to prevent them from testing. If you know what I mean.
Provided Hubert can acquire the necessary components, Hubert can do that as well.
Sure. Well, and like the other thing is Hubert is he's gonna hit level 3 almost immediately, and so it's time for you to go. You are in desperate need of finding an old bookseller, a couple, locating some other books of lore, stuff like that, and starting to collect some spell scrolls or something.
I was thinking about that. You were talking about, because we're talking about research, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the whole, I'm going to call it culture, but right, that's what they are expected to do. And Hubert is a forest gnome. So for him, I almost think research should be like meditating in a nice peaceful area in the woods and contemplating, how the universe works, and then trying to do things there. I don't know if you feel that, I mean, this is definitely research that's not following the footsteps of a predecessor if you do it that way, but you could make all the same requirements.
Yeah.
I'm actually, so of the 2 temples that you have available in Sendel, this is more of the Manzat route as opposed to the the other one.
Yeah, I've got to blow these things out just a little bit more, but and there's more temples than just these 2, but these are the two. These are the 2, because Sendel is essentially new campaign home for me. So I purposefully did not throw you guys into the really big cities, Lino or Gracia or any other places where like you as a player have played previously, and where I have lots of materials already prepared for those things, because one, I need to take those materials that I have for those and convert them from the Fantasy Hero system over to the 5e system, one, and two, I think those places would be very limiting until this group kind of gels together and also starts to interact better, and understand the underlying foundations of the world again. Um, so there's a couple there's 4 temples in Sandel. The two that you are probably most interested in are one, the research one, and two, the Manzat one. Um, Getting spells from temples, getting spells from the research temple makes total sense, and that's kind of an open door for you. But there's also a couple of wizards who have retired here, um, that you can go talk to and meet. And there's also there's the caravans that have been through. So there's probably at least 1 or 2 booksellers.
So part of the problem is that Spartango had kind of a bad, made kind of a bad first impression with Hubert.
Oh.
Well, because Hubert is a creature of law and order, and the first thing they did is try to blow up the city. Not intentionally, mind you.
No, the first thing they did was they got a reagent that they decided to try and combine with something else, and it had unexpected results.
But the point is they their introduction involved a large explosion.
Well,
that is not the sort of thing Hubert supports. So.
And also, their temple clearly is in a constant state of repair. As a matter of fact, their primary donations that they love to accept is leftover building materials, so they can repair.
So that's why I'm thinking Manzat is a better fit for Hubert's, worldview.
That's fine. So there's plenty of sources, and also the other thing is so far the adventures you've been on have not been on the order of, oh, look, there's some scrolls that I can grab that may have spells that I can copy out and study and turn into something useful. So
well, we would have to explore ruins to be able to do that. And to be honest, I'm a little tired of bandits at this point. We've been very focused on bandits for 10 sessions now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that was, that is clearly the case of the game master preparing this much material and the players getting to this much of the material, right? So,
my point is, I, for one, as a player, am looking for something non-bandit oriented.
Yeah. Well, so you did want to talk a little bit about the religions and stuff like that, and with Harbeck not coming, this leaves it really, we can very much focus in on your gnomish talents and what you want to do. There's a map here. Where's the player?
I guess the question that I most have is not really the relationship between the gods, but the relationship between the Mages Guild and the temples.
Right. So,
since Argos is the regulator of the gods,
yes.
Does that mean that the Mages Guild has some sort of authority to regulate temple activities? Certainly, if they see something bad, they'd be expected to report it, right?
Yeah. So you are not actually fully aware of all the stuff, but so there's a couple lines in my books where I was kind of introducing the Mages Guild, which is for the majority of the world population, everybody respects wizards, and wizards are akin to the reputation they have everywhere is the haughty noble who just so happens to actually be talented enough to pull it off. Right. So there's more than a few lines about I never met a mage that I didn't like, and everyone always, if they see a mage coming, they cross the road so that they're on the other side of the road, um,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. And the reason for it is simply because mages have a lot of power. They do work, they are answering to only Argos, and but this is this my world has always been far more Celtic than anything else, and the Celtic mythology and the mythos is really unique in that they covered an area larger than the Roman Empire. They all had their deities were all well known to everybody, and everybody kind of worshipped the deity of opportunity today. With some people being highly dedicated to some specific deities, but basically the Celtic deities were all kind of, whichever one suits today's purpose is the one that you want to make a prayer to, and as far as the Celtic gods go, that's perfect. They're just fine with that, and they like to show up and drink with you, or hop in and get into a war with you. So that basically means that the gods are all like there's a temple of Dalfa. I'm sorry, temple of Sula. I keep forgetting she's dead. There's temple of Sula in almost every major city, and in fact, there's a small one here in Sendell. And Sula is the goddess of healing, and prior to her mother Dalfa has for thousands of years provided healing and relief and comfort to everybody. And you pay what you can, and if you can't pay, she just asks that you sit in and pray to her for a little while in the temple to say in gratitude. And that's simply because while you're sitting in the temple and praying in gratitude, you're basically gifting her a certain amount of power, and she's doing that, and she's got these temples everywhere. So most of the major gods will have a temple in every major city, and they do have oppositions. There are wars amongst them. There are disputes amongst them, and the variances between what's good and what's evil is very much like the game Black and White. It's like depending on which god you're most aligned with will dictate who detects as evil to you, or who feels evil or wrong.
So from my perspective with Hubert, I definitely do not see Hubert as a noble. Hubert is a commoner through and through from my perspective. And I don't think that's something that's going to change.
No.
At least that's not something I'm intending to change.
Well,
but I see him as a retired working man, right? I mean, he's he's practical, he's down to earth, he builds stuff and fixes stuff.
Yeah, well, but the thing is now he's a wizard, so he's going to get treated like a noble, and that now that you are out of the I didn't see I put a tree in a lake. That's hilarious. Oh, well, I'll just leave it there. The fact is that now that you are back where you're interacting with people, you're going to have some more of that stuff. So it'll be fun. It gives opportunities for role play, right?
Maybe he should consider hiding his identity. Hiding that he is a wizard. Then.
That's up to you. I mean, I will let you play that the way you want to. So, I finally got the players a reasonable map of the area. Although you now have 2 maps of the area, and you get to have some fun with these things. because like one of the maps was from the Jotnar point of view, so that one actually has a border up here that is not on the map that you got from in town. And multiple times the group has mentioned the fact that, well, geez, wouldn't it be nice if there was some tower that we could go hide in? And I will point out, this has been here since the beginning. Except nobody mentions it, which I think is very funny. And so, and the other thing is you guys found the yellow brick road, literally, and that on the map that you guys got. By the way, this is handwritten onto the map, like anything that is not anything that is in the slightly cursive font is handwritten on the map, marking it up. So whoever made this map, or whoever owned this map last, they apparently went here and they didn't like what they found. And there's a red X through the place where you guys were, and there's a whole bunch of stuff, because I thought it was funny you guys noticed the Good River, which I'm not going to comment on. But there's lots of things in here to do. So I mean,
yeah, what I think I would like Hubert to do, but of course this is all dependent on what the group decides, is, I think it would be fun to go out and explore various ruins, try to figure out what was going on there, why they became ruins. But as long as the group is struggling to, make basic financial ends meet, that's, you kind of got to do what the contract tells you to do.
Yeah. So let's get back to the religion thing, right? So talking about the religion, so you can pick up and you can look at any of the historical documents online on the internet today for the Celtic mythos, and review the gods and the stories around that one, and you can pick and choose as you choose. The one thing is, the Celts did have a lot of dependency on the Druids, and one of the things that Baz is in desperate need of doing is he either needs to go make a Druid glen, or he needs to find one. And I actually do not know if there's one that he could wheedle in on and get permission to use. So there's a lot of exploration things that we're gonna have to deal with around Sandel.
Well, maybe that's something that Hubert could assist him with, because Hubert being a forest gnome, and if he wants a quiet place to meditate, that could be a group effort, I think.
Yeah. So you guys are going to need to make a stand of stones or something to make that a thing, or plant some mushrooms in a circle, or I don't know, find something. But then we need to go back to talking about the Argos situation. So you don't actually, you could pray to Argos all you want. However, as I have said before, Argos is the chances of Argos intervening is down in the you have better chance of being struck by, well, actually I can't say being struck by lightning, because this is a magical world with people tossing around spells, but you know what I mean. So there are some, you might want to get yourself find yourself a list of some other deities. The one that Baz picked is actually not a bad one for the gnomes either. I haven't. I've got to write up the origin story from the gnomish edition, get your gods in there, because you, the gnomes as a general race don't have a specific god. But they're a lot more like the halflings and the humans, in that they kind of worship the one they feel like it.
Well, the non-human races, I think you established this in discussions earlier, the non-human races have a direct dependence on getting magic through their god.
No, they have direct
For
dependence on getting magic.
So they could potentially get it from a non-racial source.
So magic. Since you're the wizard, you've been studying this. Magic is very much like solar radiation. It's actually it's in some ways it's far more potent, and in other ways it's far weaker and less available. So the magical races, for the most part, pull in the magic they need, not from their god, but from the environment. And the environment is being fed and maintained at that level by ley lines or mana lines or whatever you want to call them. A lot of different people have a lot of different names for them, but that amounts to, you have lines of power that travel about the world or under it, that bleed off or provide sustenance to the world, or contaminate. It depends on your point of view. So the gods themselves aren't allowed to use those, which is really funny to me.
Well, that would give you an incredible amount of control over a particular area, if you could control that.
Yeah. Well, so the ley lines belong to Argos, and the gods have very strict rules about using magic from the ley lines. In fact, the gods, for the most part, the gods are only allowed to use magic, or they could, if they felt like it, they tap into the ley lines and basically consume the whole thing. They're capable of doing the "I can drink the ocean," but they have rules that prevent them from doing that, and they are only allowed to use that power if they are in desperate need of power to live, because the gods must have magic to live. It's a fundamental thing for them. It's part of their primary structure. So that's why they need worshippers. They need worshippers to donate magic, because they're not allowed to use the magic that's being given to the world by Argos, because that is for the rest of the creatures, the elves, the gnomes, the dryads, all of the fey creatures. And so Argos is, of course, very interested in anyone playing with magics, which is why you're out looking for stuff and looking things over, because the mana lines, if they are like any river, if you can overtap them, you can change their path, you can dike them up, you can build lakes, you can do all that kind of stuff. That's all. Those are all completely feasible things to do with the ley lines.
It does seem like deception would be a very natural course of action for any god or temple that's competing with another. Because obviously, as much power as you can gather without being detected
Yeah.
you know, and if you're playing that game, why would you ever allow any mage anywhere near your operation, right?
You've hit it right. So that's the thing is
So,
anyone who's up to those types of tricks will be doing their dangest to stay way away from any wizard who's from the guild. And so that's why, and that's where your slight conflict or conflicting point of views, or I don't know, we'll just call them drama, with Peaback came from, because you're the first non-kobold that you're aware of, and as far as you can tell, you probably are the first, sentient in a very long time to discover that the kobolds are capable of using magics like wizards or sorcerers or clerics, and that they are using magics. And the fact is they're doing that without any deity overseeing them. So they refuse to pray to a god. They refuse to bend knee to a god. They have refused all offers of patronage, because and they've always claimed it's out of loyalty to their maker, which everyone thought was kind of
so,
noble. Or
so how is that fundamentally different than what Hubert does with magic? Because Hubert is not getting his powers from a god. So aren't they accessing magic in the same way Hubert is accessing it, by
yes,
tapping ley lines or whatever?
yes, but Hubert has been trained, and the limits.
So the easy answer then is we get some people from the Mages Guild to set up a school in Kenobold. Kenobold. Sorry, I can't pronounce that word very well.
Salty Sands.
Yes, Salty Sands.
Right. Well, and so then you'd have to get the permission to do that. So that is entirely a possibility. I mean,
that's a way to resolve the entire thing without
yes,
conflict, and maybe it even strengthens the Mages Guild in some way, or maybe not.
that is a very. I mean, your possible choices here are inform the Mages Guild that kobolds actually are not only capable of practicing magic. You are aware of one who is, and not in a small way, right?
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to call out Peaback, because Peaback is obviously afraid of consequences. So it seems almost like a betrayal if Hubert were to do that specifically.
Yeah, like I said. So this is all role play. This is all rich fodder for role play. Dun, 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 right? You have there's multiple problems right now with that kobold village, and they do all kind of stem around this whole god issue. Apparently, there is one god who is attempting to become a patron of the kobolds, because he's clearly, or maybe the elf druid talked him into it or something. We really don't have a lot of resolution around what the heck is going on for real in that whole space. But you as a wizard have the background, the training, and the knowledge to know, hey, wait. This is not a safe situation, because one, it's there is like wild magic surges, which you've witnessed, right? And two, there's also if the ley lines are like a river, the ley lines are basically flowing in aqueducts. I mean, quite that's actually a really good description. Is ley lines are flowing around everything in aqueducts, so they're not natural. They were built. And the fact of the matter is if you tap an aqueduct too hard, right, it could break. And then you have magic flowing out over everything, which is part of the problem of what's happening down in the desert to the south. Magic is totally out of control back there, and so far no one has been able to get it under control for 5,000 years. It's been raging out of control. And the effects are just horrible.
As I said earlier, one of the things that Hubert needs to accomplish is he needs to basically figure out how to corner P-back and sit down and chat for a while.
Yeah, well,
I haven't been able to engineer that yet in game, but it's on the list.
Here's an opportunity, right? Because we're going to be doing side quests. This is a little one-on-one gaming time. We might record them, we might not, or we might just do them in email chats if you want to. So I mean, if you want to do that, we can assume that I will talk with Harbeck and Baz and just say, hey, if I'd like to start running some side quests for the time, and I'll also shoot to Arrow a message and say, hey, I'm going to be running some side quests. I think Arrow's just going to go hang out with the cat and relax and enjoy. By the way, did you figure out where the cat came from?
Arrow will adventure with the group. I don't think Arrow will just become a cat lady.
Yeah, no,
I'm pretty sure Arrow will get involved.
So you don't know where the cat came from. So the cat is an integral part of that tavern.
I didn't pay much attention to the cat, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I was focused on trying to keep the party from being robbed.
Well, there's that too. Yeah. So no. So yeah, the cat actually belongs to one of the servers, bearer woman, and it has a tendency to steal stuff. It is an outstanding thief, but it gives everything it steals to the server, and so she just puts all the stuff on the mantle in the morning, and then gives everyone an inventory when they come down, so people can reclaim their missing jewels and stuff. But that's everyone who goes to the tavern knows about it. Also, the cat just kind of roams around demanding attention, like as cats do.
That's pretty normal for a cat.
All right. So I think that's probably enough for now. Yeah. Is there any? Did we cover everything? Do you have an idea where you want to be, or are we?
I think I got the information I need to plan a path forward. As much as any player can plan anything in a game. But
yeah.
So yes, I think I got what I need.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to try and do these weekly, or maybe I'll just do them every other week, because that might be a little bit less on my load.
Well, if you want to do this weekly, we're going to need a lot more people than me, because I just don't have that much to talk about.
Well, no, it's not just going to be you, and also I'll be asking. We do have patrons, and so the patrons will be able to ask questions, and we'll be answering. There may be questions for you from viewers. Dun dun dun.
Oh,
yeah. So this is going to be kind of an open chat with the players and answer people's questions type stuff.
I don't know that I can cope with the fame.
I think you'll live. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna give me a second here as I turn off all of the stuff here. So, boom.